All right, as we're starting to review for the foundations of function that the test, the first part that you have to know, the beginning skill you have to know is whether the following data sets represent a function or not. Remember, to be a function, your x numbers cannot repeat. So I'm looking here on A, and I've got -2, and -2. Those -2's repeat. Since they repeat, it is not a function. Now on letter B, it has the mapping. What I would do is write it as ordered pairs. 1, -2, then 2 goes with 3. Well, here it says 3, 4, and 3, 5. There's an issue. Right now, my 3's in the x column, they repeat. Since they repeat, this is not a function. On letter C, as I go through and look at my x column, remember the y's don't matter, only the x's. None of these x's repeat, so yes, this is a function. Take a minute if you haven't done it and pause and then do these next 3. For those of us here in class, right here I've got a graph, and if I draw a vertical line, it crosses through my graph once and twice. That means it has the same x values. This is not a function. On the next one, same thing. I will draw a vertical line. I can even draw another vertical line. Anywhere on this graph, it only touches my graph once. It only has one of those x numbers. This one is a function. On letter F, it has the mapping on it. I would write mine as ordered pairs, -2, -2, 3, 4, and 4, 3. The only thing I need to look at is the x numbers. Do they repeat? No, they do not. So it is a function. Here's the next one if you want to pause and try and do this one. On number 2, it asks you which statement is true. Okay, and it says for a car traveling at a speed of 50 miles per hour, the relationship between the distance traveled d and the time traveled t is described by d equals 50t. Okay, d equals 50t. This is saying that the distance, that's what d is, the distance depends on the time. The distance traveled depends on the time. It would be letter B. Number 3, it gives you a graph with these dots. First off, on these dots, when it's a graph with just dots, is it continuous or is it discrete? If you have dots, dots start with a D, it is discrete. It is only certain points. Now, to be able to find your domain, I have to find my ordered pairs. This first one is 2, 1. 2, 1 is the first ordered pair right here. Then I have 4 over 4 and up 2. 4, 2. 6, 3. And 8, 4. Now, to write my domain, remember my domain is all my x's. I'll put it in set notation. I have 2, 4, 6, and 8. My range are my y numbers. Again, in set notation. Whoa, nice squiggly, try again. Doesn't really matter. I have 1, 2, writing the wrong numbers here. 3 and 4. That's what you're doing when you're writing domain and range when it's discrete. Number 4, it gives us a table and we just have to write the domain and range. We have to remember that domain is X, range is Y, X and Y. So the number of DVDs bought is my domain. That amount paid is my range. So when I go to write my domain, because it lists specific numbers, 2, 4, 6, 12, and 24. They're not in between those numbers or certain ones. And actually, this data is discrete. The reason why it's discrete is because you're talking about number of DVDs. I can't go into Walmart to go buy a DVD and say I only want 0.99999 of the DVD. I just don't want the end. Really? The range is listing those Y numbers. So I'm going to have 1250, 25, 3750, 75, and 150. Number 5, it says, which of the following best describes a functional relationship? The amount of money earned and the hours spent babysitting. That sounds pretty good. The height of a building and the shape of the windows. The windows don't have anything to do with it. They don't go together. The depth of a bathtub and the perimeter. They don't go together because perimeter is all the way around. Depth is how deep it is. The cost of a new RV and the miles driven in the first month. That has nothing to do with each other. The only one that goes together is letter A. On number 6, this 5 right here, they just kept typing it, but that's not supposed to be there. Now, it says, which of these following relations is a function? What you're going to have to do is look through each one of them individually and start there. Like on number 1, X's, I underline my X's. They don't repeat. Okay, good. This is a good one. That's a function. The second one, 0, 0, 0, That is not a function. The next one is 0, 1, and 2. Those don't repeat. That is a function. 4, 0, 1, and 1. Those ones repeat. That is not a function. So your answer should be C because it's 1 and 3 only. On the next one, on number 7, it says Cade can work 10 math problems in 1 hour. He wrote the following to represent the number of problems he can work. It says P equals 10H. That's the same as saying Y equals 10X. Well, remember, independent is the X, dependent is the Y. It's asking for the variable. So the independent variable, the X, matches up with the H. The dependent variable, that matches up with the P. If they asked, the quantity, if it was quantity, you would write hours. And if it asked for the dependent quantity, oops, I was going to write dependent. You would write number of problems. Number 8. So if you haven't done this, pause the video. It says Super Air Cellular Company offers a convenience plan which is 45 cents per minute. In August, Kyla's bill was $22.50 after talking for 5 minutes. Which statement is true? The price, this is saying the price depends on the total cost. No, that's not true. The total cost depends on the number of minutes on the phone. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, because the more you talk, the higher your cost is. So let's see, that could be it. Total number of minutes on the phone depends on the total cost. Nope. The price per minute depends on the number of minutes. Nope. Okay, so yes. So B should be our answer right here because the cost is going to depend on how many minutes you're on the phone. Number 9, it goes with this and it says the companies are, okay, so it's the same plan and it's 45 cents per minute or sees the total cost. So as you go through right here, you would take 45 times 100. So I would get 45. I guess it's 0.45, right? To fill in this table, you can do a couple things. You can either do 0.45 times 100, or you can just go into y equals and put in there 0.45x and find your information. So this is 0.45 times 120. 0.45 times 140, 0.45 times 160. So as we go through here, this becomes 54, 63, and 72. According to the table, if a customer was charged $56.28, which of the following would be a reasonable estimate? Okay, well, let's see. $56 is in between these two amounts right here, which would mean it'd go in between these two, which is in between 120 and 140. So your answer should be C. Number 9. Number 10. Try again. If you haven't done it, pause the video and come back and see how you do. Okay, it gives us a relationship between the length and the area. Remember the length down here, this is the horizontal is the X. The Y is the vertical. So then I know that this is domain. I know that this is range. I know that the X is the independent and the Y is the dependent. Now it says the blank, so it's either the area or the length of the shapes is a function of one of the two. Okay. Function of is the same as saying depends on. So right here, we should say that the area, the Y, okay, the area depends on the X, which is the length. What is the area when the length is 6? Well, you're going to come over here to where the length is 6. And I'm going to go up to my graph. And I'm going to go over. It's going to be 9. C says, as the length of the shape increases, what happens to the area? So as the length increases, the length gets bigger, what's happening to the area? The area is going up. So it is increasing. Then it says, what does 2, 1 represent? 2, 1 is this point right here. Well, remember 2 is the X, 1 is the Y. Well, X is length, Y is area. So it means that when the length is 2, the area is 1. That's what that number right there represents. A length of 2 and an area of 1. Okay, let's look at number 11. If you haven't done it, pause the video and come back and see how you did. Okay, on number 11, it says there's a leak in the Cypress Mills swimming pool that causes the water level to drop 1/3 foot every day. The depth of the water in the pool is a function of the number of days since the leak. Function of is the same as saying depends on. You need to remember that y depends on x. So wherever you see that, you can know that what's in front of it is the y. The y is the dependent. Well, so that means the dependent variable, this is going to be the depth of water in the pool. So y depends on x. X is what comes afterwards, which is the number of days. The number of days happens first, and then the water leaks out. Number 12. It says an egg supplier packages cartons of eggs according to the function, and it gives us a function where D represents a dozen eggs, and it can be packaged in H hours. It says how many cartons are completed in the first hour. That means that the H is 1. So I'm going to have 150 times 1 minus 1.5. Well, 150 times 1 is 150. Minus 1.5, I'm going to get 148.5. You can put that in the calculator and just press enter. But now it says how many eggs are packaged in the first hour. Well, it's 148.5 packages, and there's 12 eggs in a package. So multiply those two numbers together. And when you did that, you should have gotten 1,782. Now on 13. On 13, it says Joe is typing his term paper. He types 40 words per minute. So that's 40 words in 1 minute. Which line graphed below best describes the situation if Joe takes no breaks? Well, what I'm going to look at, I'm going to look for 40 words in 1 minute. That crosses right here. So so when I start here, I'm going up 40 and over 1. It lands on this line B and D. Well, if I go up again, 40 words in 1 minute, that's on line B. Okay, there's a whole lot going over here on 14. Let's look just a bit at a time. Jonathan received a Blockbuster gift card for $35. The rental charge for a movie is $4. Jonathan's situation can be described as the equation, and it gives us T equals 35 minus 4m. Define what each variable represents. So I need to know what T is and what m is. $4 is going with the m. M is the number of movies. T, see, as I go here, I've got X and Y. I've got the number of movies, and this is going to be how much is on my gift card. So T is going to be amount on gift card. Oops, I guess I could have just wrote it there. So then it asks us to complete the table. So before they have anything, that's $35. Now what may make it easier for you is to grab your handy dandy calculator. Oh, there it is. And we're going to go in here. Now I would clear my memory. Second plus sign, 712. Now let's put our equation into y1. I go to y equals, and I'm going to put in there 35 minus 4m. I can't put m in there. I put x. Now I'm going to press second graph. Hope it starts. Yep, 0. There we go. 1 and 31. Be careful because it jumps to 3. Oh, darn. Let's see. It says 3 and 23. Yeah, you have to be careful. It skips the 2. And then it goes down to 19. And then at 8. What that is, let's see. Oh, golly gee willikers, go away. 8 should be 3. I just got that by putting it in the calculator. Make sure that you realize these are not going as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says, how much money does he left? Whew. How much money does he have left after 2 movies are rented? Well, it's not on this table that I wrote, but I can look up here and it says 2. There's $27 left. Oh, I don't mean to move all that. All right, it's going crazy on me. There's $27. The next thing it asks, what is the maximum number of movies Jonathan can rent with his gift card? I know that I can still rent 8. Can I rent 9? Do I have enough money? Okay, really? Try this again. No, my calculator's freaking out here. Oh, my pen's still on. Let's see. All right, here we go. It's being silly. All right, so what happens at 9? How much money's left on the card does it say? -1, I can't have that, right? So the most that I can have on my gift card, most I can rent is 8 movies. Because at 8, I have $3 left, but at 9, it's -1. And last I checked, they're not going to let me go in debt on my gift card. Now this next one, I think we should just look at the first one up there first. All right. The first one, all it says is to put it in the calculator, press graph, and make sure and see which one matches. So all we have to do is go up here to the calculator, go to y equals, and we're going to put in there x squared. Oh, here it goes again. All right. I'm going to go in there and put x negative, and then x. The squared button is over here diagonal from the 7, minus 4. And all it asks us to do is put it into y equals and press graph. It matches and goes with D. So my answer is right there, D, for number 15. Take a minute and try and solve number 16, please. On number 16, the 16 says, which of the following graphs has the same range? Range right here is the y. So I'm looking at up and down. I need to figure out what the range is on these. Well, first off, this range starts down here at -3. And my graph is going up, right? So the lowest is -3. The highest up here is, what is that, 6? So let me make sure because that graph's little. Yep. So this is -3 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 6. Because it starts down here at -3 and goes all the way up here to 6. That's the highest. Now I'm trying to figure out which ones of these does this do the same. Right here on A, it starts down here at 1 and goes up to 6. So on A, this is actually 1 less than or equal to y, less than or equal to 6. That's not right. The next one, looking at B, it starts down here at -1, not -1, +1, less than or equal to y, less than or equal to, what is that up to, 8? Up to 8. That's not either. Letter C, same thing. It starts right here at +1. That's not what it is. Letter D starts at -3 and goes up to +6. That's the same one. -3 less or equal to y, less than or equal to 6. Your answer should have been D. Number 17, I asked you to cross out. We're not doing that till the next unit. It accidentally got put in there. And 18, 19, and 20. 17 through 20 should be crossed out. Those don't have to be done because that's on our next unit. Now, number 21. Larry is driving to his girlfriend's house. Describe the domain for the drive. We can do this 2 different ways. One, I know domain is X, so here's my domain. Some of you need to label it on your graphs, and Y is range. My domain is going to be my time, but then to write it better, it's continuous because it is a line. It starts at 0, and it goes and ends all the way out here at 45. So I have 0 less than or equal to X less than or equal to 45. Now my range goes up and down. I've got miles. And then when I look at it, writing it with the inequalities, it starts at 0 and it goes all the way up here. It doesn't go to 5. My data stops at 4.5. So it goes from 0 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 4.5. Then it says, how far did Larry drive in stage 1? Stage 1 is this first bit right here. I don't know why I'm trying to write a 1. Stage 1. He goes 2 miles. How do I know it's 2 miles? Because up here it starts at 0 and it ends up here at 2. How long did it take him to complete stage 2? Stage 2 is right here, and it's from 25 to 30. That is 5 minutes. How long did it take him to complete stage 3? 3 starts at 30. And it goes up here to 45, so it's 5, 10, 15. It should be 15 minutes. Then it asked, how far did he drive in stage 3? Started at 2, went up 1, 2.5. So you can write 2.5 miles. When it says what was he doing in stage 2, that's that flat line right there. You can say he was resting, he was stopped, he was paused. I don't care which, as long as he's standing in the same spot. Number 22. Let's take a minute and try and figure out what we can do to describe this. Okay, this problem says Tori leaves her house to go to work. Her journey is graphed below. Make up a situation to describe the graph in the box. Okay, I'm looking at this and I know in the first section that she's going 2 miles in how long? I don't think it's 6. Okay, it's 5 minutes. So I know that this is 2 miles in 5 minutes. Now, what's happening in that after 5 minutes? What happens? She goes back. Does she go back slow? How do you know it's real fast? It's really steep, and this time she's going 2 miles in what? How many minutes? It looks like 1 minute. So it's like 2 miles all of a sudden in 1 minute. Then she's paused right here. She's staying still for 6 to 10. So let's see. She's in one place. So she went 0 miles for 4 minutes. Resting. If I ran 2 miles in a minute, I would be trying to get oxygen. Okay. Then, right here, in this next section, she's going 5 miles. And how many? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, what is it, 6? In 6 minutes. And then she's doing what up here when it's a flat line? Resting, or she's stopped. Okay, so I got to figure out some kind of story that goes along with that. So, let's see. Tori drives to work, or starts driving to work, and goes 2 miles in 5 minutes. That's that first section right here. She realizes she left her purse. So she realizes she left her purse. And speeds home to get it. Nice. Hold on. She goes 2 miles in 1 minute. She's really flying. Okay, so then it takes her 4 minutes to find her purse. It takes, what am I writing? Holy moly, I can't even. All right. It takes her 4 minutes to find her purse. Then that next section, she drives 5 miles in 6 minutes. So then she drives to work. In 6 minutes. And it was 5 miles. 5 miles away. Now she's chilling at work. Yes, sir. Yes. Now she is chilling at work. And everybody out there in Cyberland, Raphael wanted me to tell you hello. Okay. And we have responses back. Here we go. All right, so this describes what's happening. What I would do when I first have this is I would go through the graph and figure out each piece, like how fast they are going and how much time it took, and then put it together. Now the last one on this, remember, this is talking about, this is that bare minimum you have to be able to do in order to pass standard 1B. Okay, so let's take a minute and I need you to try and do number 23. This problem, it says the following data shows the barometric pressure and the wind speed during various hurricanes over the past 4 years. It says enter your data into the list in the graphing calculator and answer the following questions. Okay, so you should have your calculator, and I'm going to go in here. I'm going to clear out my memories. Let's see, there we go. Second, plus sign, 7, 1, 2. Let's start with this. Now, let's remember what we're supposed to do to put it in the calculator. You're supposed to go to Stat. Look right here. Below Delete is Stat. And then you press Enter, and we should be looking at L1 and L2. We're going to take the top numbers and put them into L1. So I got to move this thing over a little bit. Let's see. 948. Enter. 955. Enter. 985. Enter. 931. Enter. Move it back over. Come back. 989. Enter. 1000. Enter. 937. Enter. 969. Enter. 1003. Okay. That's all the L1s. Then I arrow over to L2. I've got 88. 92. 55. 121. Let's see. 35. 29. 115. 75. And 23. Okay. First, we're going to put these in here, but now I just want to, before we do anything on our calculator, I want to look at just these questions. It says, what would be the appropriate window setting? I put the pressure into my X's. Those were my L1s. What is the smallest number up here in that top row? 931. My X minimum has to be anything less than 931. So it can be anything 931 less than 931. I'm probably just going to put in there 900. Why? It's just because I picked the number. It's just some random, I mean, any number that's less than 931. My X maximum, my largest X number is 1003. So this needs to be anything 1,000 higher than 1003. I guess for giggles, I'll just make it 1005. You can do 1010. Anything that's bigger. Y minimum. The smallest Y number, what is it, 23? So anything that is less than 23. So I'll just go with 20. Y maximum, the largest one is 121. It's got to be anything bigger than 121. I'll go with 130. Why 130? I don't know. It was the first number that came to me that was bigger than 121. Now, what type of correlation? Even with this, I was having a hard time sketching it myself. I sketched it out by hand. But now that we have the calculator, I can go in here now. If I go to Windows and I put in there the settings that I just did. What's the first one? 900. So I did 900. And then I did 1005. I went down to Y minimum. Put in there 20. Y maximum 130. If I press graph, I'm still not going to see anything. What have I forgotten to do? Turn my stat plot on. I have to go second, Y equals, enter, enter. Now when I graph, what does it look like it's happening? It's what kind of correlation? From left to right. Going down, and this will be negative. Now, I would put here that it's negative, and then when you tell why, because from left to right, the graph is going down. You could say this. You say the graph is going down. You could say that as the, let me see, As one of them increases, the other one's going to decrease. See, this is what I was talking about, was like I went here and I started graphing by hand. I went pressure and wind speed. So it said so I kind of made my little 900, 950. This is because I didn't have the calculator at home. I was trying to figure out what to do. 25, it is 75, 100. All right, at 948, it was up at 88. 955, it was up here somewhere. 985, over here, it was at 55. 931, it was up at 100 and whatever. 989, it was at 35. I kind of sketched like this. And I looked to see that my line, my dots were kind of going down, because as the pressure was increasing, my wind, these speeds were going down and decreasing. And remember, when one thing goes up and the other goes down, that's going to give me a negative correlation.